As we have always maintained from the onset, the private prosecution had no basis in law and constituted the abuse of private prosecution provisions.
The South African Poultry Association has confirmed that the country has been hit by a third wave of avian flu called H7N6, which is likely to affect supply of eggs and chicken for the next 2 months. The Department of Agriculture says the outbreak has been contained in Gauteng and has not spread to other provinces. Meanwhile, Agri-SA's Isaac Breitenbach says Gauteng has been affected as well as areas bordering Mpumalanga and the Free State.
We have seen a material reduction in the total amount of eggs produced due to the avian influenza. We have also had an impact on the broilers.
And a landmark case pitting the US government against Google over the dominance of the company's world-dominating search engine began at a court in Washington today. The case is about the future of the internet and whether Google will ever face meaningful competition. Over the course of 10 weeks of testimony involving more than 100 witnesses, Google will try to persuade the courts that the landmark case brought by the US Justice Department is without merit. The trial is the biggest US antitrust case against a big tech company since the same department took on Microsoft more than 2 decades ago over the dominance of its Windows operating system. A cloudy start for Gauteng tomorrow, becoming partly cloudy later, temperatures peaking at highs of between 16 and 19 degrees. The top story this hour, Public Enterprises Minister Pravin Gordhan has dismissed allegations of impropriety in the handling of the Takatso SAA deal.
Eyewitness News on 947. For more, click ewn.co.za. 947 Music Life. 947 Music Life.
#MSW. You may begin to feel anxious or excited. Honest, deliberate, engaging, uncensored. High-dosage administration can cause adverse reactions. And most importantly, independent in mind and execution. This is a normal response. Are you ready? Marawa Sports Worldwide.
I was watching the Springboks. Happy with the win. I think, who's the guy? Libok. Chabalal, I call him Tutuzi Chabalal, should come and join Kaizer Chiefs. Did you see that pass, Pradop? Bye-bye.
You should join who?
Springbok. That no-look kick by Manile Bok was magical.
Are you a big tennis fan?
Well,
you look like
I used to watch the Willemse sisters.
No, you got a new sister to watch.
19-year-old Coco Gauff at 40 love. The serve down the center. Cuts off a backhand volley. Pass is good. And Coco Gauff at 19 years old is the United States Open champion.
We're going to be dissecting the game with none other than former Springbok Sevens and Lions center, Mac Messina.
I watching the match. The match was really good. My favorite part was that Libok no-look pass. That was amazing. And after that, how bad he was at kicking and the way he recovered that pass. I'm not saying it was bad also, but he missed a few things. But I like how Sia sorted that whole thing out. That's how he kept in shoes. But I don't want to lie, I really do miss Andre Pollard. This is my favorite rugby player of all time. I miss Andre Pollard.
Yes, as you can tell, his voice is gone. That's how much he's missed Andre Pollard. But so to be honest, I think we all miss a certain element of Andre Pollard. We miss a certain element of anybody who is a part of the team.
We miss Lucanio M.
Of course you miss.
I mean, hey.
Goodness. But there was Faf. Faf stepped in, was able to convert.
If someone is lacking somewhere, somebody else picks up for them. So he's not going to be good at everything every single day. There's sometimes some fly off, you have to hide them, they can't tackle. He tackles there with us. So you can't have everything on the day. Sometimes we lack somewhere. That's why we work together. We don't stress about it. If he misses it, next time we go. It's the same as a throw. If you throw a stew throw, you don't do it intentionally. So we're working as a group. We work together, and he has confidence in us. And when Faf has to kick, nobody stresses. We move on because he's going to be maybe as good on the day.
Robert Marawa, live on 947. Vuma FM, Rise FM, and Sowetan Live. #MSW. streaming from 13 September on Disney+. The football underdog story. Welcome to Wrexham brings you Marawa Sports Worldwide. Live on 947, Rise, Vuma and Sowetan Live.
Another bumper show, Marawa Sports Worldwide, brought to you by Season 2 of Welcome to Wrexham, streaming from 13th of September on Disney+, live on 947 Rise FM, Vuma FM, as well as Sowetan Live. Good evening and welcome to the show.
The clash of the Titans, it's here. Hardcore action at the Rugby World Cup. Be there with Marawa.
Going to be dissecting the game with none other than former Springbok Sevens and Lions centre, Mac Masina.
If you look at the way the Boks have been playing, they didn't really just change that much. You know, there were quite a few things that I felt as if they could have done better in terms of for them being settled, especially when they were inside the 822, like 5 meters towards the try line. And you could see that they were not really just settled. They were rushing things. They look a little bit as if they were hesitant of just doing things. Hence, there were times where I felt as if now we've got them under their ropes, and all of a sudden you could see that, you know, the defense of the Scotland team really just came up on tops. The biggest thing for me, it was just intensity. The Springbok intensity, we have seen them. Mm-hmm. We know what they can do, but I think they were probably just short about 5 to 10% of it.
Little show of the ball and away he goes. Living the dream. #MSW for Rugby Reality.
Right, talking about rugby reality, the latest news coming out of the New Zealand camp is that the forwards coach Jason Ryan says that his side won't be taking any risk with captain Sam Cane, who was omitted from the starting team just before Friday's World Cup opener against the host France. Now, Ian Foster's side went on to lose that game 27-13, the All Blacks' first defeat in a World Cup pool fixture. But Ryan suggested, though, that captain Cane won't be rushed back to the team's next match against Namibia. Jody Barrett also missed the opening game with a knee injury. The versatile back said that he is taking his recovery simply, as he calls it, day by day.
Yeah, we've got to get him right, and now's the chance to do that. So we won't be taking any risks with Skip because he's important to us. Shannon's progressing really well. We hope to get a good full training week out of him next week. Geordie's ticking away, and Tyrell got through some good running today and a little bit of scrum load too, which is good. And those boys have been working hard, and we're going to need them all.
Yeah, it's coming along pretty good, thanks. Obviously had a slow 10 or 14 days, but it's on the improve, so just day by day. Yeah, we feel they play pretty similar to the South African team. Obviously, Namibian side, and they're big, confrontational. They're big forwards get around the corner and just try to get a lot of game line, but they've got a good 10 and 15 there. They're the barometer for how well they go, and they sit in the pocket, similar to the way the French 10 and 15s do and swing both sides of the ruck, so they're a good side. It's hot here at the moment, and we probably didn't adapt to those conditions as well as we could have last weekend, and we've seen teams in the last few days struggle to do that as well. I think teams without the ball are going a long way to winning some of these test matches at the moment, kicking a lot, forcing a lot of mistakes. It's so hard to hold the ball, so as the tournament goes on, you just have to adapt against different oppositions and these conditions, Northern Hemisphere teams and referees, and we've just got to keep getting better. But
they say it's been around for 45 years. A power with the ability to make all men equal, defying the mighty, inspiring the weak. They say it chooses the moment to shatter dreams and make heroes. The spirit of World Cup rugby lives with Robert Marawa. #MSW for all the rugby news.
We had to switch on our YouTube cameras because, our guest is important. He's come on and plugged us in, man. You can listen and follow what's happening as far as this interview is concerned live on the YouTube channel. And to those who have logged on already, well, welcome to it. It's been a while since we started streaming live again. But I'll tell you that my next guest is no ordinary human being, a remarkable life story continuing to be an inspiration to all people from all walks of life, even after so many years into his retirement. If you flash back, though, I mean, from his youth days, everybody's written. He's even written a book himself. The entire issue, drug addiction, gang involvement, depression, poverty. I mean, he made a choice to leave it all behind and embark on a new journey in search of a better life. And guess what? Rugby was that medium which gave him the freedom to accomplish this. But it was also his perseverance. It was also his determination. He's overcome enormous personal and professional challenges. There was also all sorts of drama that played right in front of us on television. And as for us, though, all of that does not matter. He still remains our hero. Hasn't said much for a very long time. Kept away from the spotlight, kept away from the public eye. And I think sometimes that is needed. The honor, the privilege of welcoming into studio Mr. Ashwin Willemse. Good to see you, sir.
Marawa. Wow, thank you for the introduction. It's I think we probably go back as far as I've been a professional athlete for 20 years, huh?
Yeah.
So now it's a real big pleasure to be on your show. It's been coming a while now, I think. We've been talking, and so it's really nice to be back, actually. The weekend's rugby was perfect start to anything, I think. If ever there was sort of a topic on the table, I think
Yes.
World Cup has sort of, everywhere you go, you just see World Cup and, exactly the way it should be. So what a time to be alive in South African rugby, because we talk about, the past, let's call it from 95 up until 2023.
Yeah.
And you see, for example, Saturday you saw Skalk Burger, John de Villiers and Sia Kolisi. And you remember that famous photo of Sia and Skalk when Sia was still at school?
Yeah.
So that gives you goosebumps, to see Jake White in studio at Supersport. I texted him and said, wow, I can sit and listen to Jake for days on end.
Oh, he was speaking sense, man.
In fact, but he formed my I would say about probably my outlook on the game. If you look at 70% of my frame of reference to which I look at the game was shaped through his team sessions, his video sessions, his analysis. So to sit and watch him talk on the game, and it was with Bobes and Owen, and both of them also, having played with Bobes, having worked with Owen for so long. And so I said to Jake, it took me back to the boots and old days. You remember the old boots and old days?
Boots and old. My goodness, the memory goes back. So you texted him straight after that, and you said...
In fact, whilst I was watching
while he was watching, did he respond, though?
Yes, he did.
Yeah. And was he surprised to hear from you?
No, in fact, we saw each other about a few weeks ago at the Rugby Hall of Fame. Remember, our 2007 squad was inducted into the Hall of Fame. That was quite, my suit, my blazer. So I had after the game, when we finished in 2007, after the final, we all sort of had things to sign. So I took my Springbok blazers. It was specific, Rugby World Cup 2007, and I got everyone to sign it. And it was like, man, why would you do this? They were also jealous when we got to the...
and you had everybody's signature.
Yes, it was beautiful. So we saw each other there, and it was nice to see everyone catch up and sort of just get straight back into it. It's one of those things. It's an immediate switch on. It's like, second nature. So as soon as you put the jacket on, the blazer on, you walk. And I can just sort of imagine what it must be like now for the Springbok squad.
But congratulations, though. I mean, congratulations. A Hall of Fame is nothing to sneeze at. South Africans don't recognize each other a lot. And that's where we lack as a nation. So when you get recognized and inducted into a Hall of Fame, we should, sing your praises. And what does it feel for you? Because you're not just once. You're 2 times world champion, both senior as well as junior.
A remarkable honor and privilege, I would say, Rob, especially given, you see, given my life's development, but at the same time, the privilege I had of actually experiencing life from a perspective of someone who has been there, who has done that, who's been put through the mill, and then you see how your peers, how other players also develop, through their own unique sort of life story. So to see that, I think that have really for me been because oftentimes you don't get the exposure, you don't get to sit in the inner circles when you see where those life-altering decisions play themselves out. And I've been very fortunate to have been part of that. So a remarkable experience. I mean, oftentimes I can't believe that I was so lucky to have lived the life that I've been exposed to, you know.
Not lucky. I think you worked hard. I think I mentioned in the introduction issues around your perseverance. It could have gone completely differently for you, but you knew where you wanted to go. And even surprisingly, I mean, you talk about Jake White and you sing his praises, and yet the word in the streets, even at the time, would be that, you know, Ashwin Willemse was not happy with a Jake White, because there you are, you're in France, you're playing the World Cup, and Jake White doesn't even play a single game.
Well, he did once. You know,
in terms of the matches then. And we see you at the trophy presentation, and it's a major thing. But yet the dynamics, we don't want to live on hearsay. We don't want to live on what other people think. And it's so refreshing for you to say what you've just said now, because it means a lot. You kill those rumors immediately. No beef, everything fine, life goes on.
In fact, so much so that I figure that there will be a lot of views on many things, you know, player selection and how. I mean, you look at Kobe now, you know, Mapimpi not being in the starting lineup, so a lot of inferences can be drawn from that. For me, I vividly recall there was a moment when I said to Jake that you can never undo what you've done to me, you know, and this was before we even gone to the World Cup. I had sort of 3 career-threatening injuries at the time, after 2004, when he took over. So to be able to come back every time after sustaining an injury. So when we went to the World Cup, I think what Jake did very well, and that's where one has to give credit for his ability to actually see it, was to pick a balanced squad where he was able to have people that have been through the mill, have worked, and are no longer at, you know, Os came back out of retirement, a Percy came from overseas, a Bobby, myself were included, even though I was still very young. I mean, I have been at it for, you know, since 18 at that time, all the injuries and stuff. So I wasn't, I don't know where the rumors started, but, you know, maybe where there's smoke, there's fire. But those rumors...
But you say it correctly, though, because 2004 to 2006, that was your injury-plagued year, after having a monstrous year in 2003. I don't think... I could be wrong. I don't think you've had a rugby year like you did in 2003.
It was first so 2003 came, and then it was the knee ankle injury.
Yeah.
Then went overseas, and then the ankle didn't heal properly. Had to come back, had the whole ankle replaced. Then worked through that, came back strong, played two games, then pulled the other knee, ACL on the other knee, or PCL rather, posterior cruciate ligament. And as a consequence, that's like 9 months out. So Sia was quite a miracle recovery for Sia, but I think he was the ACL, not the PCL.
Yes.
And didn't have to go to surgery, because surgery, once you cut, it's like 9 months, 6 to 9 months pretty much. So I have gone through that. So that was very challenging to work with, you know, but it happens in the game. I mean, Xander Villiers also injured during his campaigns. A Bobo got injured, and so many players got injured. And I think for me personally, it was just part of the game, because I started playing for Jake as a 20-year-old in the SA Under-21s when we won the Junior World Cup. And I had groins at the time that wouldn't allow me to train for 6 months prior to the tournament.
That's crazy.
So I was used to the injuries. You know, the conditioning back in those days, you get plugged from the school, and our schools were not, so fitness and conditioning, it was something that came second nature, because we just trained hard. But to be able to train specific muscles to strengthen your body, to be holistically well, well aligned in your muscle structure, body composition, all of those things. Only when I turned professional, I actually learned and realized what the physiology is made up of, how does the shoulders connect to the knees and those things. And I think that helps with recovery, that helps with not getting injured and so forth. So very unlucky, but nonetheless, sometimes I sit and I realize that for about 50 test matches, I would say I was injured for about 50 test matches if you look at it. So over that period, so that's quite a number of test matches to be on.
That is crazy. That is crazy. Ashwin Willemse is my guest. Going to come back after the break. We talk about so much more, what he's been up to. And of course, do we talk about that moment? Have we gotten over that moment? Please don't walk out of the studio. We're just going for a break.
Imagine a tournament being the envy of the world. A festival of rugby. More than just participation, celebration. We are ready to witness something unforgettable. The 2023 World Cup Rugby Tournament with Robert Marawa. #MSW.
Deal or No Deal is the game show everyone is talking about. If you're lucky enough to take the Deal or No Deal stage with me, Katlego, you'll get a chance to win up to 250,000 Rand in cash. Watch me play Deal or No Deal on SABC1 at 7:30 p.m. and on SABC3 at 5:30 every weekday. To enter, SMS the word PLAY to 43066. Standard SMS rates apply. Deal or No Deal is sponsored by LottoStar. LottoStar is licensed by the Mpumalanga Economic Regulator. No under 18s. National Responsible Gambling Program 0800 006 008. T's and C's apply. All games are fixed odds betting events.
When working from home, power outages make you feel like you're here.
Sorry, got shit. I had to start to...
But you could be here.
Ah, that's better.
Switch to F&B Alternative Energy Solutions and get back to work on your terms. With flexible repayments for your home with Nav Energy on the F&B app. Let's help you get there. Get the help you need with F&B. Credit is subject to qualifying criteria. F&B, a division of First Rand Bank Limited, an authorized FSP and credit provider. T's and C's apply.
Yo, Choma.
Batong, Choms.
Your phone's been blowing up.
Unknown caller.
Probably a get-rich-quick scam.
Crypto Forex.
Or a financial advisor selling retirement annuities.
Half your salary.
As you answer, expecting yet another offer.
Dilili.
It's just Ugogo calling to tell you she loves you.
Bless.
It's a small pleasure, like getting a King Value meal.
No policy needed.
From a very small $39.90.
Only at Beggar King.
Go from a test drive to living your best life with BMW and the Silo Hotel. Stand the chance to win up to 4 nights at one of Cape Town's most exclusive destinations by either test driving or buying a BMW before 25 September. To book your test drive, visit your preferred BMW retailer or log on at buy.bmw.co.za/test drives. T's and C's apply.
Welcome to Wrexham returns to Disney Plus for a brand new season. The docuseries continues to follow the Wrexham Football Club, the town and its residents. The club extraordinarily positioned as an international prospect and is wallowing in the newly found limelight. Executive producers Ron Reynolds and Rob McElhenney have been welcomed into the community and in turn have totally fallen in love with the club. Welcome to Wrexham Season 2, streaming from 13 September, exclusively on Disney Plus. T's and C's apply.
Marawa Sports Worldwide.
Ashwin Willemse.
There's a song by Ricardo. Oh, man. You know, when you grow up and you don't have a father, you're trying to find your father, the man that is responsible for you being here. And he says, Daddy's here. Hey, Rob. He thought I was crying before, and then I just let loose. There was holding nothing back.
And immediately you have this flashback of Ricardo's song. Yeah. What about that song stood out?
Hey, Muna.
Aye, man, tell me.
Hey, Muna. You know how much I love you. Hey, yeah. Ah.
Ricardo, man.
Ay.
#MSW.
Marawa Sports Worldwide, powered by Welcome to Wrexham Season 2, streaming from 13 September on Disney Plus, Rise, Vuma, and Sowetan Live.
Yeah, we never forget, man. We whip out the archives from back in the days. Hey?
You did.
You probably thought you had forgotten about that moment. Just the same way you thought we had forgotten about this moment. Listen to this.
Raffaelli. Soialo. Dilly showed it on the inside, then went wide. Resmarson, and 22 is Fianati. And a pick up here by Willemse. Will he have too much pace? They're coming at him, but that's the winning of the ball game, you would think. Ashwin Willemse against the run of play, scooped on it. And the Springbok right winger scores his second test try in his 8th international after making his debut against Australia earlier this year. The heads are down as far as the Samoans are concerned. It's now 39 points to 10, the Springboks over Samoa.
They've got to say it's not fair. There's no justice. They've done so much hard work, all the big boys. Then the fast, skinny kid has a run, and look at that. In the South African under-21s last year, Willemse too quick for the oncoming Tangitanga bout, and happy with it too. Ashwin Willemse.
Not too many chances for Willemse this game, but what an athlete. Look at the speed. He has just left the Samoan defence in his wake.
They're the easy tries that come if you squeeze hard enough in defence.
Hogard. Flags are up again. 41 points to 10, South Africa. So Willemse looking skywards. Didn't believe his luck when that ball popped up. All smiles from the try scorer.
The skinny kid, man. Hey, I looked at that expression on your face. Brought back memories, man.
Indeed, it was wonderful, amazing. So running and playing was second nature. My timing. You don't just develop timing by waking up and picking up a ball. It is years and years in the making.
Yeah.
So I think when you relive a moment like that, it brings back the reality of what it was like. You know, the feeling. Go back there in the moment, and it's unbelievable. My love for the game have grown stronger over the years, and today when I sit and I look back, I can't remember what it was like because you were so focused in doing it at the time. But I can still vividly recall the way I felt, you know. So it was the late Dr. Maya Angelou that says, the way you make people feel. I mean, that's how rugby made me feel. Being able to go out on the park, to run with the ball, whether it's raining, whether it's sun shining. You know, it's now the mountains are covered in snow in the Western Cape. So you can imagine in the winters, in the Overberg, Caledon, playing barefoot at that time. It was unbelievable. It has been the fiber of who I have always been as a person. And rugby became that one thing that allowed me to have a vantage point, you know, something I want to achieve. I could always test myself. So at the end of the day, I feel like that 2003 World Cup, it was also at the back of a style drought that we had. You know, there was a lot of controversy surrounding the team. So to be able to have been given the chance at that point by Rudolf Strauly, who was the coach, you know, that has been unbelievable, really has been. Rudy Joubert, who was with Rudolf Strauly there, and he was also with the 95, I think was a technical coach in the 95. He was the Boland coach in 2000. He came back from coaching Namibia like Alistair Coetzee is doing now. And he came back, took over the Boland job, and then he became the backline coach for Rudolf Strauly. So I think it's that line that sort of gotten me in there. Wow. And to be able to be given that chance at that time, I mean, it's been my debut, the commentator was Australia, but it was actually against Scotland in Durban.
Correct.
And the Scottish was the hardest test match, that opening one that I've ever had in my life. You know, they were like the Hurricanes of yesteryear. I mean, real, every tackle, every encounter, you feel it.
I mean, that's crazy because you're absolutely right. You made your BOK debut against Scotland, and you were all of 21 years old, and that was the irony, is that, you know, we've just played against Scotland. You know, my question was going to be, are they still the same Scotland? But we're not going to have enough time. I want to get into some of the things that you've been busy with, though, because I know a major part of you is the learnership, and you might have to update me because you were talking about Dr. Maya Angelou. I mean, you yourself can fit into that realm. The last time I checked, you were doing your master's degree in entrepreneurship, a new venture creation from University of Witwatersrand, where you graduated from. Have you added more to that?
No, I've actually, unfortunately, haven't had the opportunity or the time. I would say I've been focusing. What was good was I was able to post the whole Supersport saga. Well, call it saga, but the situation. I've been able to put my life and my focus into my work and what I've been doing, and that have really been rewarding. Took a lot of focus, focus time. So at least for me, I could spend my days focusing on something that I'm busy with, my craft, and.
Tell me about your work and what you focused on, because we might miss that beat.
So I was heading up stakeholder relations for Implet, a mining company, and there, brought it down to understanding what is the real issues at hand, dealing with communities, and how do you bring in communities more inclusively into the mining sector, and how does the stakeholder relations process, how does that enable and allow for that relationship to, ultimately flourish and lead to stakeholder value, where you're able to also bring value and support to the host communities, especially in a country like ours. Throughout the COVID period, I mean, we were hard at work trying to see how do you actually roll out just the protocols around COVID, how do you mitigate the risk and the impact it has on the communities. I think none of us were saved by COVID, and for the mining industry at the time, it was a real focused approach in how do you make sure that you take the standards that a mining company like Implets and others have sort of stood for. How do you make sure that translate to communities? And so that was very rewarding. And so for me, it was trying to find ways and come up with ways how you actually put together mechanisms to allow for collaboration, co-partnership, co-creation in a sustainable way. So that has taken a lot of my focus. And for me, I feel like at this point, I'm ready to start thinking about what it is that I would like to sort of study and go forward in doing. I speak to my kids about it, and if I look at them and I realize the opportunities that they have with what they can do, what they can study. Nowadays, we live in the TikTok era. I mean, this is probably the first Rugby World Cup, the TikTok Rugby World Cup. And you find that Imani Lobok does magic on before he's in the shower, he's trending. Due to that magic, and it shows you the instant nature of what you do now versus the outcome. So to go back into studying and sort of really working at, so what's the value that you want to add? What's the value you want to bring? And I feel that for me, to have spent my time harnessing my skill, focusing on the global issues, bringing it back to how do you manage it internally, and how do you make sure that you build teams around it to help assist with that. For me, I feel have almost added to my ability to look at a value offering that uniquely can contribute to the societal challenges that we see from a multi-layered perspective. So that's what I'm sort of hoping to achieve and looking forward to. And the World Cup for me again, it's that cornerstone. So every 4 years it's a World Cup. So my whole life has been 4 years to 4 years. So
4 year cycles.
Indeed.
Yeah. I mean, you talked about that Supersport saga, and you left it at that, so that I can make you feel lighter. You talked to your former coach, Jake White, as you've mentioned. Spoken to Nick Mallett at all? Since? Sorry, I know you're shaking your head.
Yeah, I haven't. Yeah.
Spoken to Nas Botha?
I spoke to Nas once, I think, way back then, shortly after it happened, but not after, not since then. Yeah.
Anybody else from Supersport?
So a lot of the guys I met actually at the Hall of Fame induction. So a lot of them were there. Well, not a lot, but some of the people I've worked with.
Sure.
But Tsadisi was also there. And
yes.
She was the one hosting it on the evening, so I got to speak to her and say, hi, how's it? See Brayton, obviously, regularly, always bump into Brady. But no, I haven't really actually had much interaction with the guys at Supersport.
2018, I actually thought about it during the day. I said it's a long time back. I mean, it's only, what, 5 years?
Lifetime.
Yeah. And that still is the one thing, besides your brilliance on the field, that people always refer to, because, I mean, there we were watching Lions versus Brumbies game, and then all of a sudden, boom, you're out of the studio. And things were said, and, there was a verbal exchange, etc. Here you are now, 2023. What's your take on just that motion, that day, those events? You look back, what happens to you now, 12th of September 2023?
Well, I think we are defined by moments in time.
Yeah.
And I think it's if you have a defining moment like that, I think I would never wish it away or anything like that. It has been something that I think surprised me as much as everyone else. So, and what unfolded in the process, how it unfolded, when I look back, I realized that, now, all these years later, I realized that no one could have anticipated that at the moment. And I think what we all tried to do, at least from my experience at the time, was to manage it in a way that you pay due respect for the magnitude of what's happening. People don't just respond in the manner in which they did because they feel nothing. It's when you see an injustice in someone else, it makes you experience your own injustices that you have suffered in one way or the other. So it's relatable. And the details become secondary. So to shift it away from the emotive nature of what it obviously has been, to say, let's deal with the substance of the matter, it's a complete change of trajectory if you think about it. And you talk about the time that have elapsed, it's 5 years. It's 5 years later, and the Human Rights Commission has also closed out the investigation.
Was that fair, though?
Fair is for me a luxury, because what is fairness?
Because they try to throw it back to you to say you didn't respond.
But it's okay, because if I had been in a situation or in a position, I believe, where I could deal with it in a way to take it to a conclusive manner, then I believe I would have done it like that. The fact that it has not gone there, it means that it was my inability to do it.
So are you happy with that conclusion? Because put us in your shoes in that set that you're in studio. What is the trigger? Like you rightfully said, it's not something that you'd have ever thought of doing, but it happened. It happened in front of all our eyes. What was the trigger?
So 5 years on, I sit and I say, we are all triggered in one way or the other. You can go and you can drive and you'll see somebody bang on someone else's car window. That's a trigger for that person. You look at how we as a people respond to when something bad happened to someone else in the day and age of social media. These are all triggers. If you're in a situation like obviously I was, and I believe that at that point in time, for me, the way in which I reacted was what the moment required of me to have done. And I can never take that away, and never would I want to take that away.
Sure.
And that's only because I have played the game by breaking my bones, by going and having surgery done on my shoulders, on my knees. And what rugby offers you and what sport offers you is the ability to, if you don't put in the effort, you get nothing out. So it's an honest feedback. And then the only thing that you hope for is that when it comes down to selection, you would be treated with fairness. When it comes down to the coach taking a final decision, you will be given a fair opportunity. When you don't get the fair opportunity, it changes everything.
So just a quick one, because I've got to take a break. Up until the time you are now an analyst and you are analyzing in probably the biggest broadcast facility within the continent, were you still being referred to by your peers in studio as a then quota player?
No, so let me not. So the answer is no.
Okay.
So the answer is no. To be quite honest. So the answer is no. 5 years later, Rob, I'm saying life has gone on.
Yeah.
I've watched the rugby on the weekend and I saw what the studio looks like. I sat on the Monday morning after the incident and there was, I think, probably 90% of all the black commentators were sitting right there with me with a whole list of complaints of saying, please, can we label this as like one package, Wow. So it wasn't, Ashwin was not saying something that every other black commentator at Supersport was not saying. Every other black pundit at Supersport was not saying. And I think today, if I look at it, and having watched rugby probably the first time of the past 4 or 5 years, over the past weekend, I say if I look at how it comes together as a broadcast, then I say that, I wouldn't say it was because of Ashwin, but I'm saying perhaps it inspired a change that we now live and experience.
Let's hold
through
that thought.
broadcast.
Let me quickly go for a break. I'll come back. Ashwin Willemse, as he recounts a situation that a lot of you have been talking about, as we mentioned that he's going to be on the show here tonight, chatting to him. We'll come back for our final thoughts.
The clash of the Titans at the Rugby World Cup. Be there with Marawa on 947. Vuma FM, Rise FM, and Sowetan Live.
Little show of the ball and away he goes.
Living the dream. #MSW for Rugby Reality. Marawa Sports Worldwide. Powered by Welcome to Wrexham Season 2. Streaming from 13 September on Disney Plus, Rise, Vuma, and Sowetan Live.
The award-winning ABSA Run Your City Joburg 10K returns to Johannesburg on Sunday, 24 September. Join over 10,000 runners as they take to the streets on National Heritage Day and be part of this iconic race. One lucky runner will drive away in a brand new Cherry Tiggo 4 Pro Urban, valued at over 300,000 Rand. You don't want to miss out. It's our time to shine and #RunYourCity. Enter now at runyourcityseries.com. T's and C's apply.
Honey? Mike? Michael?
Yeah?
What stage load shedding are we today?
6. No, wait. 4. No, looks like 6 again. Oh, wait. We're zone 12.
We're zone 11. Ina!
Things are complicated enough. Buying a car shouldn't be one of them. Suzuki offers a wide range of cars that are reliable, affordable, and fuel efficient. They're packed with features and fun to drive. Make the easy choice and have it all with Suzuki today. Visit suzukiauto.co.za to book your test drive.
Don't you wish you can swap your old phone for a brand new foldable one? Get the Galaxy Z Flip 5 today. Trade in your old phone and get a guaranteed 15,000 Rand cash back into your pocket. Samsung Trade-in really is the easiest and most affordable way to get the phone you want. Visit Samsung.com for more information and quick steps to follow. The new Galaxy Z Flip 5. Join the flip side. T's and C's apply.
It's thrilling, it's rewarding, it's Lotto Star's Real Rush Games. Feel a euphoric rush when you spin the reels on Hot Hot Fruit, Wealth Inn, Egyptian Dreams Deluxe, Hey Sushi, Santa's Village, Looney Blocks and more. Slot your way to instant payouts of up to 2 million Rand with our Real Rush Games. Lotto Star, your world of live games.
Lotto Stars, licensed by the Mpumalanga Economic Regulator. No under 18s. National Responsible Gambling Program. 0800 006 008. T's and C's apply. All games are fixed odds betting events.
They say opportunity is rare. They also say that you can boil an egg in the microwave. They say a lot. But at Lula, we say if opportunity doesn't knock, build a door. That's why we built a bank account tailor-made for SMEs, where you can get funding in 24 hours. They say success happens when opportunity meets preparation. So be ready. Be Lula. Open a free bank account at lula.co.za and make cash flow. Powered by Access Bank.
Welcome to Wrexham returns to Disney Plus for a brand new season. The docuseries continues to follow the Wrexham Football Club, the town and its residents. The club extraordinarily positioned as an international prospect and is wallowing in the newly found limelight. Executive producers Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney have been welcomed into the community and in turn have totally fallen in love with the club. Welcome to Wrexham Season 2, streaming from 13 September, exclusively on Disney Plus. T's and C's apply.
Previously on Marawa Sports Worldwide.
Andile Dlamini is here. I just love her soul. The way she sings, the way she's just a happy soul. I just love that.
Say fans, happy soul, does that describe you?
It does.
It does.
Yeah,
Because you were singing, man. A lot of people expected you to be this mad lady.
Why?
Angry,
You know, when you're used to something and when it goes away, when you believe in God, you believe it's his moment of taking you out and saying, listen to me, I want to say something to you. That World Cup moment was that for me, and become something greater than what I am or what I think I am. I needed to be that extra moral boost for Caledon, because mental health is very important.
I was going to ask you a very personal question, is why do you think you guys had more supporters than Bafana Bafana?
Hashtag MSW. Hashtag MSW.
Well, I talk about Bafana Bafana. They're playing against the DR Congo, believe it or not. They had a record attendance of about 8,000 people over the weekend. I'm not sure today. I can't see it on television. I believe it's not on the public broadcaster right now, which made me think a little bit to say the other day fighting for rights to broadcast the Rugby World Cup on the public platform. And then today the public broadcaster is not broadcasting the national team of football, but putting it on their own individual platform that the normal public does not have access to. We live in a very interesting time, interesting world. Ashwin Willemse is more than interesting. He's my guest.
Good evening, Mr. Rob. It's Hulufalang here. And good evening to the MSW Shoulders. And good evening to Mr. Aransa there. First and foremost, what an incredible career. What an illustrious career. What a legend in many people's eyes. I would just ask, what is he busy with right now? I mean, he's been keeping things on the down low. What is he busy with? Is he busy with rugby development? Is he coaching any team? Is he in rugby administration? What is he currently busy with right now? Great show as always, and I really, really wish you everything of the best, brother, man. Continue to inspire so many potential rugby superstars, and continue to be a great inspiration. Great show as always.
Hulufalang, thank you so much indeed. In answering what he was saying earlier on, this man is attending mining conferences.
Good evening, Rob, and the legend Ashwin Willemse. Rob, you're talking to the most highly decorated rugby legend in this country, and I don't think we give enough credit to Ashwin on his achievement and his contribution to rugby in this country. And also, Rob, I think Ashwin is one of the most courageous individuals who embodies the concept of walking away from a table when respect is no longer served. But my question to Ashwin is that with you having achieved so much in your career, why was it important for you to also further your studies, and what is it that you can advise other athletes in terms of incorporating sports as well as their studies? Thank you so much.
Incorporating sports and studies, a quick one in response to that, Ashwin.
It's just further development of oneself. There's so much that you don't know. In my experience, coming from a working class family, you realize that there's a whole world out there that you haven't explored. So what education does is really open you up. At least that's what it's done for me, to have a better grip and understanding of what the world is made up of, and then you can self-determine how you want to apply yourself to the world and what you want to offer the world. So that is for me. If anything, I believe we should start at a much younger age from an educational perspective to empower rugby players, professional athletes across the board to have a better sense of oneself. It's still not going to guarantee success, but you better equipped, better prepared. So it's just another weapon in your armor ultimately as a person.
All right, my guest is the World Cup champion, IRB Under-21 World Cup champion, 2023, presently here on Marawa Sports Worldwide, 2003 awards. Let me name them in case I slip up. SA Rugby Player of the Year, Young Player of the Year, Players Player of the Year. So not only were the judges saying he's the best, even his own peers were saying he is the best, and that's the best accolade that anybody can give anyone at any level of sport and sporting success, and that is why he's here tonight.
Good evening, Mr. Marawa, and good evening to your guest, Ashwin Willemse. I just want to hear from the legend what sort of advice he can give to the boys who are representing the Springboks in the World Cup. What sort of advice can he give them, and which aspect of their game, since he watched the first game, he would like to see them improving as defending champions, because it will be, I think, the first time if we can win the World Cup to defend that trophy. Thank you, Mr. Marawa. Good show.
Smoleni, thank you so much indeed. You said something, and I'm building up towards you answering the question that is posed now. You said something before the break that before this weekend and this weekend's games, you and watching rugby were not friends. So you've been almost away from the viewing of the game for just over 4 years now.
I've watched a game here and there.
Glimpses, but not as passionately as you would.
Not every weekend for almost 10 years.
Yeah.
Watching it, analysing, looking at the players, understanding where they come from, how the partnerships, how that's going to filter through in the game, looking at the different opposition players and so forth. So, no, not from that perspective. It was a real painful experience, this whole Supersport situation. And I don't think people would sort of understand it, but it is really like a death of some sense.
Yeah.
Rugby is the prism through which I have looked at the world, how I've built and constructed my own world, and to have it gone through a moment like that, and then just separating. I think also for me, perhaps I could have done it differently in terms of dealing with it. Holistically as a person, but you do as best as you can. And it was just another example of self-leadership, another example of self-empowerment, another example of picking yourself up, like I've done so many times. And I could not have done this on my own or alone. Friends, family, really supportive, strangers on the street that I've met regularly and still does. So a word of encouragement, because you've got the flip side of the coin as well, where people really give you a piece of their mind, whether you like it or not, and how you feel about it. Really, who cares? So having watched it.
Yeah. So that departure was mainly due to that, though. I mean, you'd admit to it that it took something out of you.
It was painful to watch. Yeah.
Correct.
It was painful to watch.
So it was painful to watch the game that made Ashwin Willemse the person that he is, and how it shaped your thinking and etc. But with what you have right now and what was said and what you only got to find out, let's say when the report, the Maleka report was compiled and you only got to see for example, the Nick Mallet email and what he said about you, how much did that affect you? How much did that hit home to say, oh, these guys that I hang out with there every day, this is what they actually feel about me?
But I've known that, so it wasn't a surprise to me. It's like I've known that. I didn't know the emails. I didn't know the extent to which it has gone on. But you know when you're in a situation where it's not, where the integrity is not the way it should be, where the respect is not the way it should be, and it was highlighted in those things. So, but I come from the belief that if you're not good enough as a player, you should be the one telling the coach, I can't play.
Yeah.
That's the level of honesty. And I've done that in my career. At times, coaches would disagree with me and say, no, but I think you are good enough to play. And so to function in that environment, the pain that comes with having lived through the backlash of what happened, that was on me, and I've had to take that. And the key thing for me was always about self-healing, and how do I do that? How do I find it in me to face the world on another day? How do I find it in me to keep on going and applying myself? How do I accept the fact that I am the meme? When you become the punchline of the joke, you have to laugh as loud as anyone else, and that's what I've had to grow accustomed to. I think it's tonight when Trevor Noah is here, so it's almost like I've had to become a comedian of some sorts, and which is beautiful, because when you start to laugh at yourself, that's what I've learned to discover. It makes life a a lot easier. It makes accepting things for what they are a lot, it just becomes a lot easier. So my suggestion to young players playing currently would be to make light of it, enjoy it. You in your youth, it's the best time of your life. It's not going to last forever. The pressure is what it is, but at the end of the day, you, the human, will still have to live long after you've retired. So you may as well go out and enjoy it. And when I was 20, 21, 25, there was never. It was hard work. It was focused. It was such a burden of responsibility that you didn't want to drop the baton. You wanted to be the best, and so you almost overcompensated every fitness test. You have to be one of the top 3. Every time you play, you have to leave everything out there. So that level of intensity, I think, to take a breather, take a step back, and go with the fun, smile, laugh, be part of it, and accept the fact that sometimes the joke is on you, and I've learned to grow accustomed to that. I was going to say
that's difficult to even call it that. I know sometimes people don't have the same way of understanding as you. You worked hard. You became a Springbok. You achieved what you achieved, the achievements that I've just spoken about now, right? And then you go on to help us understand the game, analyze the game on television. I was even saying to you earlier off air that the way you used to handle a difficult thing, and people don't understand the nuance of having an earpiece, a director shouting not at you, but shouting at a cameraman, lighting person, audio, this and that, while you are talking. But at the same time, you are dealing with a video writer, with the video wall, and you're trying to analyze certain things and making sense at the same time. That is a skill that a lot of your peers probably didn't even end up doing, but they would criticize you for. So all I'm saying is that if right now, post this interview, phone call rings, boom, somebody in Randburg says, Ashwin, we need to talk. We need you back at Supersport. Would you take that call? Would you go back?
I'd love to. I mean, why? You yourself, Rob. I mean, we were there every Monday night. People don't know. We exchanged studios. When I would come in, you would come out. And the level of professionalism it takes. So that's why I was completely gobsmacked when I realized they said I was unprepared and I came late to, I almost said horse crap, but I mean, it's radio, I probably can't say it, but
manure.
Horse manure. Yeah. So for me to have seen that, it was like, wow, really? So, Rob, it's I spoke about Jake White. What made Jake White, in my books, the greatest coach that I've ever worked with and most probably ever will work with, was the fact that he was able to transfer what he see to your level of understanding.
Yeah.
Now, to be able to do that and for you to see things that no one else sees, you look at the same frame and you have to see something that no one else is looking at. To find that. Now, I was raised through that level of rugby understanding. I played for a club, first team, at the age of 16. You can't do that today. It's not even allowed to. So then those guys, they don't explain to you, I'll club for you. Say, you must understand. So to be able to have stand there in front of a rugby loving crowd.
Yeah.
And to bring across an insight and understanding, that's the easiest part of it. The whole technical noise that makes up all of that, that's a skill that you acquire over time. And I feel like for me, it was giving up on something that I've had to invest so much of myself into. Because it's not just knowing who's playing. It's not just... It's a 24/7 job. Everywhere you go, people want to know, what do you think? You can't go anywhere without
saying no. I don't know. You saying you don't know is a problem.
Yeah.
So that is why you saying I don't know to my next question, which needs a yes or no. I need to next week Tuesday. Tanda Banana returns back from France. You are here. People are calling for the revival of the Room Dividers. Are you going to say yes or no?
And you say I can't say I don't know.
You can't say that. That was for the Zondo Commission.
I think it'll be a wonderful opportunity and experience for me.
Yes or no?
I guess. So should I say
yes or no?
I would love to. So I guess I'm now going to be part of the room dividers, but we can't divide because we have to unite against.
Of course we're uniting.
Okay.
We're dividing opinion. That's all we're doing.
Okay,
we're dividing opinion.
Fantastic.
All right, he's already part of the room dividers next week.
See you next week.
Thank you so much. Live on 947, I can tell you. Rise FM, Vuma FM, Sowetan Live, Marawa Sports Worldwide, brought to you by Season 2 of Welcome to Wrexham, streaming from the 13th of September, right on Disney+. Welcome to the Room Dividers next week, Tuesday. Thank you so much. Ashwin Willemse.
The clash of the Titans at the Rugby World Cup. Be there with Marawa on 947. Vuma FM, Rise FM, and Sowetan Live.
Little show of the ball and away he goes.
Living the dream. #MSW for Rugby Reality.